Hi, and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast. My name is Isabel Ross, and I am the coach at Peak Endurance Coaching. Episode 86 is an interview with the amazing athlete Maggie Guterl. Maggie made headlines back in 2019 when she won Big's Backyard Ultra, a last man standing style event run by Laz, as you know now, who is the organiser of the infamous Barkley Marathons. And this sees runners cover a 6.7 kilometre loop on repeat. Each lap must be completed within an hour and starts again on the hour. And after that, it's a battle to see which competitor outlasts the rest. Well, Maggie completed 60 laps to cover a mind-boggling 402.5 kilometres and win it outright, the first woman to ever do so. Maggie has also competed for Team USA at the IAU 24-hour World Championships. She's won a 100-miler outright, come second at the Georgia Death Race, and 8th at Western States, amongst many other accomplishments. In this interview, we discuss her win at Biggs and what it will take to succeed at Barkley in 2021. I used to think that to get running injuries sorted, you need to go and see a physio. How wrong I was. I've been seeing Luke Nelson, chiropractor at Health and High Performance in Mont Albert, for a few months now. Luke is a sports chiropractor who specialises in runners. He has been amazing at helping me get on top of the niggles I incurred at GSER back in 2019. Let Luke help you get on top of any niggles or injuries you may have now so that you can enjoy running again and perhaps even get back to preparing for some upcoming races, fingers crossed. Or just so that you can run pain-free, which, to be honest, that's winning anyway. Come in and see Luke or any of the other specialists at Health and High Performance, where they will utilise the latest in technology and experience to help you get back to your running best. So, head to healthhp.com.au/run so that you can book an appointment. I assure you, you won't regret it. You can also find them on Instagram, Health High Performance, where they regularly post informative videos on how to prevent injuries and develop flexibility and strength. In fact, Luke and I have a new podcast interview all about plantar fasciitis coming out very soon, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. Rating, reviewing, and subscribing helps the podcast to grow and more runners like yourself find it. If you enjoy this episode, and I really hope you do, please do go on over and rate and review. I'm aiming for 100 reviews by Easter this year, not next year anymore. Flying Charpy gave 5 stars and says, high quality guests and the interviews flow really well. Hoping there's many more to come. Thank you so much, and yes, there are many more to come, and I really hope you enjoy this interview with Maggie. Bars T also gave 5 stars and says, what an awesome podcast show. I've listened to so many of these episodes and have become a smarter and stronger runner from these episodes. So many cool people sharing their knowledge, great podcasts. Thanks, Bars, who actually is a friend of mine, and so I appreciate it even more. I really appreciate the review. If you are interested in taking your running to the next level, email me, isabel@peakendurancecoaching.com.au, to organise an individualised training plan. I would love to help you achieve your personal best. Enjoy the interview with Maggie. Hi, Maggie, and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me, Isabel.
No worries. Now, can you tell the listeners who may not know, but I'm sure they do, but in your own words, just a bit about yourself and how you got into running?
I'm from the United States, and I got into running. I was living in Philadelphia, and it's pretty much a big city, so I started running pavement. It was about an 8-mile run to get to trails. We have a really good trail system in Philadelphia called the Wissahickon. So it was a big run if I ever ventured to trails. I didn't have a car. So eventually moved out of the city to get more into trail running, and kind of snowballed from there, from doing marathons. And then I tried my first ultra, which is a 24-hour race. And then kind of discovered trail running and trail ultras. And then it kind of went from there.
So your first ultra was a 24-hour race. You didn't try like a 50K first or something?
No. So like the race that I knew about was this 24-hour race in July in Philadelphia. And if anyone's ever been in the East Coast and the States in July, it's super humid and really hot and horrible. And so, nutrition's a huge problem when it's like a 95, 105 degree heat. And so, yeah, it was a huge disaster. But that's like all I knew. I would run on this loop all the time, and I would see these runners every year kind of suffering, and it was intriguing to me to be like, what are they doing? And then when I found out, I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. And then I was like, I kind of do. And it was just kind of curiosity to just see if you could do it kind of thing. This is all I knew about it. I actually then kind of got into it after doing it my first year. And then, you start researching, and there wasn't like tons of stuff on the internet yet, to believe it or not. This is only 2011. So it's not that long ago. No. But I found Dean Karnassus's book and learned about Western states, and then you kind of discover the big races. I did stumble upon Barkley by internet because Matt Mahoney has that like website with all of the Barkley stuff on it, and it was intriguing.
Yeah. So you haven't actually been running all that long?
Yeah, no. I guess like 11, what is it? Well, it'll be 10 years for ultras. Yeah. My first full marathon was 2009. So yeah, not that long.
Did you do any other sports before then?
I mean, growing up, I played like all the little team sports in grade school, and then high school I was too cool for it. I just wanted to socialize. I think I was on the softball team and the track team for a little bit for fun, but not really serious. I was more into art.
Oh, that's nice. It's a bit more relaxing than ultra running. Although that being said, I find running around, doing those 24-hour track races can be quite meditative. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I like never have the desire to kind of create art or anything anymore. And I think just because I like running, and it's just. And
who's got time for that now?
I know. Then you got to clean up after doing painting. If not, that's a pain.
That's like I used to race mountain bikes, and the cleaning up of that's a pain. With running, it's just bang your shoes together and you're done.
Oh, my boyfriend's really into bikes. He was injured a lot. We both met through trail running. He was injured a lot, and now he's so into bikes. It's like a 45-minute process to like get ready. It's so much.
And then you head out the door and
the whole thing's taken apart. And you're like, no, we're supposed to leave.
I know. And then you head out the door, and 5 minutes later you've got a flat and can't ride anyway. So running is much better, of course. Not that we're biased. So you won Big's Backyard in 2019.
Yes, 2019. Yeah, that was my second attempt.
Yes. So can you tell us about, what you learned from your first attempt and how you nailed it in 2019?
Yeah, it was a crazy learning experience because, so again, it was that curiosity where it's like, okay, you've run 100 miles, you run 24 hours a lot. Sometimes those 100 milers take 30 hours, like whatever. Okay. So there's these barriers you can keep reaching, but Bigs, I mean, there could be 5 barriers you reach and surpass in one race. So it's like, oh, what's it like to run 2 nights and 3 nights? And so that was kind of intriguing. And then, I mean, I knew like sleep deprivation would be like hard to handle. So I was trying to like be ready for that. But what I underestimated was how much maintenance your body, at least mine, needed between laps. So I didn't really use my time wisely to stretch and kind of adjust mechanical issues. And then
so you feel that between laps you need to do like rolling or stretching or something, or some sort of massage or something.
Yeah, I think what you do between the laps is like almost more important than like how you run the lap. I mean, don't run it really fast, but whatever's comfortable. And I also wasn't really trying to sleep the first night because like I can get through one night fine, no sleep, but you really kind of have to get your body in the rhythm of it's nighttime and to start banking sleep, even though I don't really know if that's possible, but I think those little 5-minute naps add up, even if you're falling asleep for 10 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever. And then once you get really sleep deprived, your ability to combat those different problems and think clearly is like really diminished. So I was a little bit blindsided by that. And I felt like at a point I was too far gone with I think I had a issue that was spreading to my whole side of my leg, like IT band. And so it can no longer be like, oh, well, maybe you should have rolled or should do something about it. And it was just too much. And I stopped. It turned around at like lap 44 or something and stopped. And so that really just bugged me all year.
So then you came back and you redeemed yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you never know, like, I mean, I could have gone maybe like through another night and then things could have gone terribly wrong because, Will was looking really good and he's the Kiwi from Hong Kong that took it really far. So,
so
you just never know.
What was your strategy going in? Like, because obviously if you're going to have time for either sleep or body maintenance and that sort of thing, how much leeway time did you need for that?
I think with the Bigs Loop, it turned out to be, you kind of fall into a uniform type of, so I think I had about 7 minutes during the day loop and 13 minutes during the night loop. So you like lie down for 7 minutes at night and then you wake up. I had my crew wake me up 5 minutes before and then do like eat, stretch, whatever, and get ready. That way you're not waking up to like the buzzer or the bell or whatever. So that was good. And then you don't really have too much time to sleep during the day unless that's all you do and you just want to lie down and rest your eyes. But that's when I would do my stretching stuff.
Wow. So 7 minutes though, that's not a lot of time to get much stretching in, but.
Yeah, a good amount. I mean, you probably need like, a couple minutes or just to address like certain things. Like I would make a mental note during the lap, like, oh, I'm going to focus on this next time. Yeah. There's not much else to do.
And what sort of things did you eat? Because that's a long time to be out. You can't just have gels or something.
Yeah. So I did tailwind every lap. Like that was my main source of calories. I'm not good at, I was always been a puker. I'm not good at consuming calories, especially when it gets hot. During the day this past year and on 2019, it was pretty warm. So I'll do tailwind and then they have the recovery rebuild, which I'll sip. That has fat and protein as well. And I'll sip that, kind of when it gets colder or whatever. But then, you got to eat real food for days and days.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of potato-based products, mashed potatoes, pierogies. Do you guys know what those are?
Okay. Well, I do because I've been to Canada, but explain what a pierogi is because the Australians might not.
I talked to a guy from the BBC and he's like, what is that? And I was like, oh, you guys don't know? I'm like, I mean, if you're from Eastern Europe, I think you would know. The Hungarians claim it, but like my mother's Polish. So it's basically like a ravioli, but it's filled with mashed potatoes. It's
so good. Yeah.
It is so good. It's perfect. It's like a little compact mashed potato pocket dumpling type thing. It's great. They're super easy to stuff that was salty, since tailwind's kind of sweet, so
some salt to counteract it. And so how did you train for it to be able to run for that long?
Big training is fun because I feel like as long as you're mixing up the road and pavement, road, whatever, and also getting in your trail running. And you don't have to focus on elevation gain. It's not crazy, but just keep it varied and, just be fit and healthy. And, I try to load on as much volume as I can, but I mean, you don't know how far you're going. And
yeah, that's right.
Some people can do 200-mile weeks, but I just don't have time. And I don't think you need to do that.
So what's sort of your maximum you would do?
I don't go over 100. I just don't have time. And I don't know that it got, I felt amazing in 2019. And I don't think I went over 90 something miles in training. And, so for me, that works.
And you would do a couple of speed work sessions a week, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think the speed still helps because, I mean, you're going to slow down. And so you don't want your heart rate to go crazy at a 13-minute mile. You want it to feel super easy.
Yeah. And do you do any sort of cross training, strength work or anything like that?
Yeah, I neglected strength work in the past and it's really bit me in the butt. So definitely try to focus on that. I think that was the 2018 year, and it's crazy because like it was just like a very crazy time. And so with lack of time and everything, I let the strength slide.
Yeah.
And also that's not fun for runners all the time. Like the
I know.
strength thing that we have to do, they're kind of super boring. Like if anyone follows Mike Wardian, he does some of the most boring strength exercises, but they're so important. Like
Yeah.
the band walks and like all the core exercises, the bird dogs, the dead bugs, like
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. It just keeps your body balanced and stuff.
Yeah.
So cross training, I go mountain biking with my boyfriend sometimes. I live in Durango, Colorado. It's a huge mountain bike town.
That's right.
So.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you raced in the 2020 event, which was a bit of an unusual one because it was kind of done via, via everyone in their own countries. Can you tell the listeners how that race went?
Yeah. It mentally had a great time. It was super fun and it was cool. Like, I was disappointed not to see everyone kind of because you like, Johan and Guillaume and all those people. It just sad not to see them. I kind of thought you would go up to the screen and maybe wave at them, but it didn't turn out. You almost didn't know that was going on at all.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, for me, I just started having issues pretty early on. And for this year, like I had my first injury over the quarantine. Like I did that quarantine backyard thing.
Yes.
Dave Proctor put it on.
Yes. Yeah, I interviewed him about that one. Yep.
Yeah, and I got to 40 miles and I was just in excruciating pain, so I stopped because I was like, this is a virtual race. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And I didn't run for 2 months. I had an SI joint injury. Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
I finally got PT once things started to open up and figured out what it was. So I got exercises, those boring exercises Gordian does. I do those all the time. And then I was dealing with asthma issues, which we couldn't figure out where those came from. But I had really bad bronchitis in December. It wasn't COVID. That was way too early for that to be here. But it was really very textbook bronchitis. And they think maybe that could have triggered like a temporary asthma. But so it's been a pretty rough year. And I was finally getting ramped up with training for bigs and feeling really good. But I'm wondering if just the lack of miles all year maybe just kind of made it really difficult for that. Yeah. I don't know. So, but it could just also be one of those things, like it just wasn't your day. And
that's the thing, isn't it? Sometimes it's just not your day, is it?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Like I was just making the cutoffs on the entire second day for the trail. I was coming in with 2 or 3 minutes to spare, but I was in this like great mood. Because it was almost like this game. And like they always say, take it one lap at a time. But I literally had to take it one lap at a time. You're like, just get through this lap. And the day flew by so fast. Like,
and Laz was saying that there was some trouble with getting tape onto was it your ankle?
Oh, yeah. So it became like a slew of just problems. But ultimately, this really horrible pain in the back of my knee to my calf. So I asked them to tape the back of my knee, but it was so humid that the tape wouldn't stick. And they finally got some better tape and got that going, but it wasn't really seeming to help. So tape can solve a lot of things, but not all things.
No, that's right. It's not magic. Yeah. So you've also competed in the Barkley Marathons. Can you tell everyone how those two races differ?
Yeah, well, bigs, you probably won't get lost. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So you can really just turn your mind off and focus on just continuing. I have been in it twice and I've made it a total. I've done 3 loops this first year. The second loop was well over time, but it was nice to see it in the opposite direction. It was a really good experience. I feel like I'm still new and just learning so much. And like, I mean, when I get really tired at bigs, I think about how I like making decisions at like hour 55 on where to go, and you're in the dark in the fog. I don't even know. Like it's just crazy. Like, I just don't even know, you know?
Yeah, and that's the difficulty with Barkley. It's the fact that you've got to use your brain too, which is exhausting.
Yeah. You can be in amazing shape, like Gary
Mm.
Robbins has proved. I mean, he trains his ass off. Like everyone that shows up at Barkley trains their ass off. But that doesn't help you if it's just so many factors have to be going right, and they have to be there, and your navigation has to be on point.
Yeah.
And for someone like me, I'm not the fastest person. Like, you know, Jared Campbell and all those guys, they will blow me out of the water in just a straight up mountain 50, 100 mile or whatever. So I can't make any mistakes, and you know, those add up, and weather and things like that.
Yeah. So do you consider yourself to be good at using a map and compass and doing all that navigation?
I enjoy it. I don't know if I'm good at it. It's weird there because you think you're like, no, and the map makes sense and you can picture it in your head. And then when you're there, you're like, oh, because everything looks the same.
Yes.
Unless you're standing right in that spot that's familiar, like, then it kind of comes back to you. Like, you know, when you're running on your favorite trail anywhere and you like, say you go the same way every time and you turn around and look behind you, it just looks like a totally different trail.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. And that's the difficulty with Barkley is, you go one way, then you go another way. And it's, even though the books are in the same place, doesn't mean you can necessarily find them again.
How did you find navigation? Like,
I'd only done a little bit of navigation practice, so I was still like learning. So I wasn't the best at it.
Yeah.
But I actually, what I had more trouble with was finding the books, not finding the place, if you know what I mean.
So that's like the thing is everyone's like, oh, so the first year I linked up with Ian Keith, and he's an excellent navigator. You could tell because they had the map in the plastic in front of them.
Yeah, they look real.
Get us to this place, but like you have to understand the last directions, which only make sense to him.
Yes.
And that only gets you to the general area, and it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Like
Some spots we were looking for the book for like close to 2 hours. So, you know.
Yeah, and that sucks. See, like we think we spend a lot of time looking for. Like even if you pick the wrong route and go down like the wrong ridge, it could take so much longer. And in your 2 hours, like, okay, then your lap goes from maybe 10 hours to, which is within, like, you can continue on a second lap and you still have a chance to coming in at 12 hours where like you're effed, maybe finish a second lap if you can.
Yeah, if you're lucky, yeah. And so what do you do to train your navigation?
So I haven't worked on it this year yet. But when I was in Pennsylvania, I worked with my buddy a couple times who taught me navigation. He was in the Army and he was very, very good at it. He also said like navigation's a gift. You know, people are really good at it. He said I could understand topography really well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm so good at like putting the map down and getting bearings because I've done them and then compared them to like someone else and they're all 2 to 3 degrees off, which shouldn't make much of a difference in a distance this short.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, with Laz's directions, Laz's things are not exact either. Like, he's not trying to be exact. So
in that regard, understanding topography and being able to read a map for topography is actually probably a better thing.
Yeah. And I feel like what ultimately comes down to it is like learning the course from a veteran and just personal experience. Like, there's people who've pulled, like John Fegavarese pulled it off the first try he finished. Like he has like a brilliant mind and he really studied it and understood it. And he just like, he's just really gifted in that way. And he trained his butt off. But I don't know, like your best shot is, I think you're knowing the course just by sight.
Yes.
And not have, like, I don't think Jared ever takes a map out, to be honest. I don't.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. You know, I'm sure that at points it comes out. I don't know, but be curious to ask him or something.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And so what do you think it would take for a woman to complete 3 or more laps at Barkley's?
Well, they have to be fast, like really, I mean, and strong at elevation. But again, like you got to know where you're going. So, I mean, for some people, like for me, I think it's going to be persistence, just coming back and trying again and hopefully getting a spot and trying to earn it, whatever. I mean, this will be my third chance. I've been in it 4 years, obviously. Like so you train for it 4 times to be in it 3 times, and it's good experience, but then you're kind of missing a whole year there where I hope it just comes back to me. But I think for me, I knew it was going to be a project and to just keep coming back. Like Andrew Thompson took him 10 years to finish.
Oh, wow. 10.
Yeah.
Well, so, I know Laz says you need a good 3 to 4 tries at it before you can before you can hope to be successful.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when you're there, you're like, okay, I feel like I can do this. And honestly, if you had more time, I think more people could just make their way around that loop.
Yeah.
It's just that is a really, it sounds like a lot of time, but once you're out there, it's not, right?
It's not. It's not at all.
And he also said that, like, we need good weather on our side at this point because that course is just, I don't know. You know how he makes jokes? He said, "Oh, it used to be harder back in the day." Barkley.
Yes, that's right.
But like, I mean, how much harder can you make it before like people can't finish it? People always finish it, but like, yeah, I mean, we really need good weather, I think.
Yeah. And so, how will you deal with sleep deprivation at something like Barkley's, where you could be out for 10, 11 hours without really, especially if you're with a veteran that you need to stay with? What will you do then in that regard?
A lot of caffeinated tailwind, I think, and whatever else. Because, I mean, all right, say you're on your 5th lap and you're by yourself. At a point, I think you need to lay down and sleep if you have to, because, like, it seems like John Kelly's done that. But for someone like me, I also think the days of anyone napping in camp is maybe over. I don't think.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. I just think, I mean, look how fast like Gary aims to transition between laps now. It's just so quick. And I think people just do, John Kelly says they'll find the most comfortable spot to lay in so that, he can sleep, and then you wake up, you don't accidentally fall asleep and what they call it, the Limacher Hotel under a rock somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. And, women tend to, well, obviously you've gone well at Biggs. So, I mean, obviously there's the navigation, but why do you think women are so good at something like Biggs Backyard, but struggle so much with Barkley? It's all running, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly. I think a lot of it is maybe a lot of women haven't put in the multiple years. Like I know that, Bev Anderson Abs and then Sue Johnston, they've tried a bunch, and, age will eventually kind of slow you down. Like once you get to your 50s, I feel like I'm 40 now, but like, I don't think I'm going to get faster, in 8 years. So the time is ticking, and it's overall body, like strength, like, Biggs is not about speed at all. I think Barkley is a little bit, a bit more than a bit. I mean, speed as in, yes, you got to move up and down mountains as fast as possible. You have to be really good at just bushwhacking your way down a hill. And then you have to be able to run where you can run, which is, sometimes there's a trail or a dirt road, but you got to go fast. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. And just more women need to try. That's all, And
I think, and I don't know what you reckon, but possibly there's also the mindset, women can't finish it. Do you think that has any effect, that if someone does manage to do well, that would suddenly change the situation?
I think so. I mean, I think that turns some women off too. I know Laz is just joking,
Yes,
but some
I
people
agree.
don't take it like that, and it's
Yes.
totally understandable. But that also is just silly to me. He's like, he wants a woman to finish.
Yes, he definitely
Um,
does. Yeah.
and yeah, and it's like a world record. It's like there's like world records that don't get touched for 20 years, and then all of a sudden they're broken again and again,
Exactly.
and it's
Yeah.
like that barrier, So yeah, I think if somebody just gets to 3 or 4 loops, then some other women will do it, and eventually we'll have a finisher, like, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I really hope we get to see that at some point. And
Yeah.
yeah, it would be awesome. And so when you're training for Barkley, would you sort of stick to the same sort of mileage? Do you still do speed work? What sort of things do you do?
Yeah, I still do speed work because I think it's important to keep that speed. And
Yeah.
I was pretty fit the first year, but I think you got to keep the speed. That's all. Like, everyone focuses on vert.
Yeah.
And I focused on vert a lot the first year because I'd never done that amount of vert, especially in one race. I think 60
Yeah.
hours, and he claims it's 70,000 feet of vert. Like, I'm struggling to do that over 25 days for this Aravaipa running virtual thing. I'm not going to make it because I decided that I'm sacrificing speed work for this vert challenge.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's a lot of vert. And I think it's just like ultra running. Once your body does it, you kind of begin to adapt. And I do a lot of vert over the summer because I live in Colorado now. You're always hiking up steep mountains. So I think that I don't need to put as much emphasis on vert. Like, it will be a huge part of it, but I need to not sacrifice like being a well-rounded athlete runner.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've done the same for a race. I focused on vert and then I was just slow.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? So Megan Hicks is my really good friend. She's from, I Run Far Here. It's a neat website, and they cover races. And she broke the Nolan's FKT. It was originally
That's
hers,
right.
and her and Sabrina have been, going back and forth. And that's a faster time than she told me she ever thought she could do. So I was like, what did you do like differently? She said that the thing she did differently this time in training was, instead of splitting up her vert days and speed, she kind of did like a brick workout, almost like a mishmash. So she would do a hill workout and then run flat fast, or kind of do something that involved running. Or some days it would be, you would run fast, do your speed workout, and then do hills, so that you're used to the transition, because it is going to be in one race. And I was like,
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially with something like, especially with something like Barkley, when you climb a hill and then it's going to be flat for a bit, you want to be able to run with heavy legs.
Yeah. Well, you do those couple of climbs, and then you're on that North Boundary Trail, running on the trail, and
that's right.
It's rolling. And your legs are like, what the hell? Yeah. So I mean, that makes sense. I'm going to try to, just keep changing it up, because I don't know.
Well, the body plateaus with whatever training you do, so you need to anyway, don't you?
Mm-hmm. And that sounds fun to me too. Like,
than
just grinding out a bunch. I mean, the first 2 years I trained for Barkley, I had a treadmill.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of up. I just hiked inclines, tried to jog or whatever. Yeah. I would do the backwards, like turn around and walk backwards, so you get the down. Yeah, my coach told me to do that.
So you were actually walking backwards.
Yeah. On it, so your treadmill's at an incline and you're walking backwards. You can really feel it in your quads. But
so you're walking backwards uphill, basically.
Yeah. So you look like a weirdo if you go to the gym. You put
you would.
You turn around. All these old guys
that
are
would
like,
be tough.
You're doing it wrong. Yeah, but it's still like, Barkley's just so technical. It's just really good if you have hills you can just bomb down or try to.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that's very true. And do you use poles?
I do. I am going to keep using them, because the first year I did a lot of strength exercise, and the second year I did more running and stuff, and my arms were very tired.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use the poles as much as possible to get used to them.
Yeah, it's certainly important to train for them. And then also when you're doing your strength work is doing upper body work too.
Yeah. I agree. Like I did a ton the first year, and I mean we were out there for 36 hours. Wait, yeah, like 36 hours or something, 2
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think my math's wrong, but my
A
arms
long
weren't
time.
tired at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my arms weren't tired at all. And you're climbing up stuff all the time. Like you're
Yeah.
lifting yourself up all kinds of crazy things he's named that are called
Yeah,
different things.
that's right. Yeah. And so with when you're doing Barkley, do you use tailwind as well?
Yeah, it's harder to use it.
Yeah.
Wish
I
I
would have
could just
thought.
have it,
Yeah.
but I was just kind of thinking of more ways, because a lot of times you just filter the water from the creeks there. If you're like, before you get to the water drop, there's only 2 water drops in the whole thing.
I have to admit, when I did it, I just drank from the creek, and people were horrified. They're like, they're filtering, and I looked around, they're all filtering their water, and I'm just drinking. I didn't realize.
I don't know. Like, I know a lot of people that have said they've done that too, and they're always
I was
fine.
fine. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
fine.
I don't think there's there used to be, like, you have to worry about beavers for Giardia, but I don't think there's a ton of beavers there.
No, they were talking about pigs.
Yeah, there's the Russian boar there
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just luck.
Yeah.
One day you might get sick, but like at the point you'll be well done Barkley, hopefully by then.
That's exactly. Deal with that later.
I mean, whatever. Australian water out there, I'm sure everything kills you out there. You're probably like, some water.
You'd be surprised. When I went to Canada, everyone was here in Australia was like, "Oh my God, you're going to get killed by the wildlife over there," because we all think it's worse over there.
Where? Canada?
In Canada or America, with all your bears and all that sort of stuff. Like,
I saw a mountain lion on my run on
Saturday.
Saturday.
We don't have that.
We don't have mountain.
Oh my God, no.
Terrible snakes there. I hate snakes. They're all deadly. That's awful.
Yeah, do you know what? I rarely see a snake, and
really,
yeah, I'm way more scared of a mountain lion than a snake.
Yeah, I'll take mountain lion, I guess. I mean,
really?
I figure. Yeah, I don't know. I just hate snakes.
Yeah,
that's funny. I guess it's just whatever you're used to,
That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
I talked to a runner, Mike Foote, who lives in Montana, and I was asking him about the grizzlies. He's like, "Yeah, you just know they're around." Like, I'm like, really? The grizzlies are the ones that you worry about, besides like the Kodiak bears and all the things in Alaska. But like, we only have black bears here. They don't really. They're afraid of me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I just. I just think it's funny because people say that about Australia, but really, I find it's worse for us. We think it's worse over there. So yeah, it's all relative.
There's a mountain lion in Frozen Head. I was with my buddy Greg, Greg Armstrong. I don't know if he was there the year you ran. I don't think he was. Is he
the key? Where's he from?
He's from near Nashville.
Oh, okay. So he's American.
Like the guy that makes all his own clothes out of deer skin and stuff like that. He's a really interesting guy. But we were up near the North Boundary Trail on one of the backcountry sites. Yeah, I forget which one. We saw big cat prints up there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there might be like a mountain lion there, unless it was a very large bobcat, but Greg thinks it was a mountain lion.
Yeah.
They're probably smaller on the East Coast. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just they're the kind of animal that once you see them, it's kind of a bit late, because they've been stalking you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the one we saw on Saturday was running away. So, I mean, they really want nothing to do with you unless they're a very hungry, desperate teenager or something. Yeah. They have plenty to eat here. There's like lots of turkeys and deer and elk and squirrels and everything. So.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And so you've talked a bit about, you've done some virtual racing and you've been injured. How has the COVID situation for you affected your training and racing and more your mindset?
It's actually been kind of nice because my job I work with Tailwind. My title's athlete and events manager. So I would travel a lot for the events we would go to. I feel like this is the first summer I spent here, and I've lived here. I guess it was my 3rd full summer, but we've been here 2 years. I don't know. It was my 2nd summer. and it's like the first time I got to like really explore Durango, and it feels like home now,
Yeah.
I mean, the San Juan Mountains are right here. They're amazing. It's where the Hard Rock
Yeah.
100 takes place, and it's just unreal. And I haven't even explored 5% of it. Like, it's just crazy. So
Yeah.
I really liked being forced to just stay local. When I went to Biggs, this is the first time I left the state in,
Oh, wow.
since March. And
Yeah.
um, it, we're in a smaller, I mean, it's a larger town for the area. It's like 20,000 people, but like it feels like a small town. It's not like Philadelphia or New York or
Yeah.
anything. So the trails you would go on, it wasn't super crowded. Like, people weren't freaking out and having to wear
Yeah.
masks. You're pretty much spaced out. So
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I got to be here, and it's, I have friends that live in New York and Philadelphia, and
Yeah.
that wasn't their experience. So I feel lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, that's good. And I mean, many people have found that actually it's been a good time to just have a bit of a pause and a relax and, find a different way of living life, perhaps a little less rushed.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice to just like, you know, my boyfriend's always worked from home because his job is
Okay.
still back in Pennsylvania, but he's a software developer. So nothing really changed for him except now I'm home all the time. And we've both been working from home back in Pennsylvania. So we could manage that. I think a lot
Yeah.
of other people, that was the first time they were working with their partners at home. It's like,
Yes.
but it was nice, like no commuting, even though my commute's not that far, but like you could just take a break
Yeah.
and go make a lunch, not just
Yeah.
have to think ahead and what to bring and go
But see,
for a
I
run.
find that harder because the fridge was right there and I could
I
just go
know
to it
we
at
did
any
go to the
time.
fridge a lot. It's
Yeah.
just like,
It's like, oh, I'm bored, I'll eat.
yeah, yeah. And you don't want to go to the grocery store a ton of times. So we would
Yeah, that's
go,
right.
we get like a whole cart full of stuff.
Yeah.
But then you get the impulse junk food, and that's gone the
Yes.
first week, and then you got to eat the healthy stuff.
Yeah. Oh, damn that healthy stuff.
I know.
Are you like, do you follow any special diet? Are you vegan or vegetarian or whatever?
No, I used to kind of dabble with like extreme
Yeah.
nutrition plans when I started running, and all of them made my brain hurt. And I
Mm.
find I did tend to lean meatless, and then I moved here, and I find that if I eat red meat once in a while, it really helps with my energy levels. It's hard moving to altitude and then
Yeah.
trying to train, and it was difficult. And as I I went to kind of just add in red meat once in a while, and it seemed to make a difference. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I just kind of try to keep it balanced, but like also not scrutinize anything that I eat.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think a balanced diet, certainly for me, works the best. Like you, I've tried all the different ones, but yeah, I found the balance works the best.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, also with like, I don't know if the Australians went and panic bought
Toilet
things.
paper. Yep.
Yeah, meat was a big problem. I think
Ah,
that was more a distribution issue, but then once people see something dwindle, they panic.
yes, they do, don't
So
they?
like we had meat packing plants, like there would be breakouts, and so
Yeah.
there was like a meat shortage, and people would buy like, so they were limited, and we didn't eat a lot of meat. That was fine, but my friend does, and she's like, we can't get meat. It's like, I was like, you know what? All the Beyond Meat, the vegetarian, like fake meat, that's all there. So we were like, oh, sweet, no one wants this.
Forced vegetarianism.
Oh, we'll eat whatever. It's
Yeah, yeah, I'm a bit the same. So yeah, so you're obviously going to Barkley in March, and as I was saying before we started recording, I won't be there because Australia's extended our travel ban. Is there anything else for you before Barkley, or are you going to just from now focus on that?
yeah, it's just that. I mean, that's always been my winter plan. Is just
Yeah,
the first year I did Bigs, I threw in Desert Solstice, a 24-hour track race here,
yeah.
and that didn't work out. And
Okay.
then you got to recover, and I wanted to just get to training and
Yeah. So how
feel
many
healthy.
A races would you do a year?
I usually keep it to like, I mean, it's been Bigs and Barkley really, and then I'll
Yeah.
throw something in if it works. But like last year, with all the travel, I was like, that's enough. And then I was lucky enough to get into Bighorn 100, and I got to run that. It was a really cool experience. That was last June. And so, this year I actually piled on a lot. I don't know. I guess I was like feeling really positive about this one. Because in May, about 6 weeks after Barkley, I have, there's a new race, Air Viper Running's putting on, that's Cocodona 250. So I thought I'd try one of those 200 miler.
Oh, yes.
From Black Canyon City to Flagstaff in Arizona. And it's drivable for me. So it's a pretty part of the country. It's super unique. So I thought that sounded fun.
Yeah.
So that'll be next.
Yeah. So when's that one?
That's like beginning of May.
Oh, okay. So you'll have, plenty of time for that.
Good. I don't know the exact number of weeks, but like, it's not a lot of turnaround time.
Yeah. But I think sometimes many ultra runners do race a lot. So I'm always interested to hear how successful athletes, how many A races they do. And it's good to see that you don't do too much.
Yeah. And like, some people are really good at recovering. I was using Gordian as another example. He races a lot of races. Courtney is like unreal. Her recovery is excellent, but I mean, when she'll pack on things to kind of see how much she can do, and then realize like, okay, that like Desert Solstice, she knew like that's just a lot. So I think she'll just play around with it and figure it out. But like everybody's different. Yeah. And also like mentally just gets draining and just recover and start training for something else. Like,
and that's sometimes what I think it is as well, is there's only so many times you can go to the well. It's the body's all right, but the mind just has had enough sometimes. Yeah.
And summers are really fun here, because like you have a short window when you can get out in the backcountry and explore. And, I don't want to have to be like, oh, I have to do a speed workout, because it's like I don't want anything
on the flat
in the middle of the summer.
So does it snow a lot where you are in the winter?
I heard it used to snow a lot more. It snows more than Pennsylvania, but that could be, you could have a bad winter and then you could get no snow.
Yeah.
But we did have some snow Saturday. The winter before I moved here, they had record snowfall. It was like feet upon feet upon feet. So, and then that was the year the Hard Rock was canceled, because that country had not melted out. There was avalanche, just chaos everywhere. So it can get a lot of snow. Yeah. We'll see about Hard Rock this year, and hopefully
there's, racing going ahead and that sort of stuff. How's that looking over there for races next year?
It's weird. Some are going on and some are not. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, ones that far out, I think they're just going to plan as normal and hope for the best. And, I mean, obviously Barkley's a smaller race. It also depends on your state, because it's individual states have different guidelines and stuff. And like, I mean, it's really just hard to say. And there's no like,
hard and fast rule.
Really. Yeah.
Oh, well, hopefully, things start to sort of normalize a little bit, I mean, I don't know how long I've been saying that, but I'm still hoping. So,
some good things happened yesterday, at least in the States. Somebody got, they got the first vaccine rolled out here.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah. They're looking at not bringing that here until next year. I think they want to see how it goes everywhere else.
Well, they use us as a guinea pig, because they're can't be worse.
That's right. Which I'm not necessarily against, to be honest. I'm a bit nervous about the vaccine with so little testing, but if that's what it takes for me to be able to travel, that's what I'll do.
Yeah, I trust science. I got a friend who's like, she's like, whatever they say in the media and politicians, whatever, she's like, just know that we're working hard and that we're working together, and it's like it's a separate thing. So hopefully it's all good and it works out well. And I'm interested to see what UTMB will look like, because that's just the meeting of so many different nations together in this tiny town with so many people.
I hope it can go ahead.
Yeah, me too. And that's August, so it's his hopefully we can get our stuff together by then.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. How can people follow you or see what you're doing on socials and that sort of thing?
Oh, I'm on Strava. It's not always that exciting. And then I'm on Instagram the most. It's at Magatron Runs.
Yep.
A lot of pictures of my dog too. So
Of course, as it should be.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much. And I look forward to seeing you in 2022, hopefully. But maybe we can have another chat about Barkley as we get closer, and certainly after as well, maybe.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Thanks so much.
No
Bye.
problem.